Welcome to the Eye on Annapolis Local Business Spotlight. There are thousands of locally owned businesses in the area, some small and some large. Some you may know and others you don't. But one thing they all have in common is a great story, and we want to share it with you. Join us every Saturday as we talk to the founders, the owners, and the managers of local businesses you have come to know and love, and those you will come to know and love. Now here's your host, John Frenay, with this week's Local Business Spotlight.
We are here at Marilyn Hall again, which is one of my favorite places to be. And we are with the new executive director, Jackie Coleman of Marilyn Hall. And first things first, welcome to Annapolis, because you're a newbie.
Thank you. Yes, I'm a newbie since the end of March.
I think we first met on your maybe second day. It was at the opening night of the Annapolis Film Festival. And I remember you had that look like, oh God, what the hell are you doing? I have no idea who these people are or whatever. Your mind was a whirlwind. I was like, okay, well, I'll just shove a business card and say, hey, we'll talk later. And here we are about 3 months later. So
yes,
that's good. Well, I'll tell you what, it's funny. As I sit here and I look across the table with you, you always hear that people have doppelgangers someplace. Now, who do you get? Mm-hmm. You do get that? Do you get? Okay. And I'm just writing this down.
And then I'm going to tell you, and then you're going to show me. I know 100% who you just wrote down. If it's not Liza Minnelli, I would be shocked.
All right, what's the damn paper say?
Liza Minnelli, yes. And since, even in my high school years, I went to France on an exchange trip when I was 16, and I was in a cafe, and, there was my French teacher and other students and stuff, and this kind of drunk gentleman comes up, and he actually thought I was Liza Minnelli and asked me for my autograph.
Did you give it to him?
No.
Oh, come on. Send the guy home. God, when he sobers up, let's go. What the
I thought
I got this little teenager side by side.
Yeah, no, we laughed and we just said, she's not Liza Minnelli. And I think I took out my passport and showed him that I wasn't.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I know when my father used to live in Manhattan, and most of his career was there, and last name was Frenay, but at one point, the food critic for the New York Times was named Frenay, and it was pronounced the same way, but was spelled a little bit differently.
Okay.
And it was wonderful because you could call up and say, hey, yeah, I'd like to get a table for Mr. Frenay and 4 guests at any restaurant in the city. And they'd be like, yeah, absolutely. When do you want to come? And then we roll in and they're like, you're not the...
But I am.
It worked for a while. But,
yeah.
But let's get into talking about Marilyn Hall. I mean, you are new to Marilyn Hall and to Maryland. You came from New Haven, Connecticut, I believe?
Actually, Manchester, Hartford, Connecticut.
Hartford.
Yeah, right outside of Hartford, Manchester. Yes.
Okay. Well, how did you find us, or did we find you, or, kidnapped?
I was kidnapped. No, no, actually, it was during COVID, and my husband and I had some conversations, and it was time for a change. I really enjoyed what I was doing at the time. I was working for a community foundation in Hartford, the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, doing grant making in the arts sector, but I was also doing grant making in other areas as well. And I wanted to 100% be connected to an arts institution. I think that was something I learned during COVID, that life is short, and I want to be happy, and I want to be inspired every day, and I want to get back to doing what I had been doing in my career a few years earlier, which was working in an arts organization. So, and my husband said, I'm game to move. I'm game to shake it up and make a change. So I started to pay attention to job advertisements, and Marilyn Hall had a search committee. The board led a search committee. They posted an ad. I read the ad, made me want to go on the Marilyn Hall website. And when I started digging into the website, I got so excited. I was excited about the building. I was excited about the resident companies, about all the classes, the exhibition spaces, just everything. It was just, this was made for me. That's what I said. And I sent my stuff in.
It's so funny that you say you're excited about the building, because this building really jazzes me too. Mm-hmm. You cannot deny this is a 1960s, 50s, 40s high school.
Yes, I hear it was built in the 30s, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what it is. This is its roots. But I'll tell you, the auditorium, I think, has great acoustics. It's a great place to see a rock band. It's a great place to see a speech. It's a great place to, all the things that happen in the community, in the auditorium, and down below in the new Bowen Theater. It's not so new anymore. It's a couple of years old. But the building is just amazing, and there's history. And you come in and you smell it, you feel it. You just look down at the treads on the steps and you see how they're worn, and you just know that there have been generations of people that have gone to school here. And I think that's just so cool because it's the history, and which certainly ties in with the arts and everything else.
I agree. And I've had the pleasure of having countless people pop their head into my office and tell me they went to high school here.
I know. It's
so wonderful. It's so exciting.
I know there was one up in one of the galleries upstairs. There was a discussion held by Ralph Crosby, who wrote a book called Memoirs of a Main Street Boy. And he'd grown up on Main Street and went and same thing. It was like, making this presentation where, this may have been like where I did detention, 50 years ago or whatever it was. It was really kind of neat. But how do you like Annapolis?
I love Annapolis. Oh, it's beautiful. My husband describes, I say this to everybody, my husband describes it as being on vacation all the time. I mean, it's like coming to a vacation spot, the water, the weather, we love Quiet Waters Park.
Right.
Love it. Love all the little stores and restaurants. We haven't had a bad meal. And we live over in Eastport, so we're enjoying some of the highlights over there.
Have you gotten into any of the little funky Eastport traditions? Let's see, since March. I mean, they had the 0.05K bridge run. Did you see that one?
I did not see that.
No?
No.
It's a rolling race.
Is it?
Yeah. It's from one side of the bridge to the other.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's so long.
They've got a water spot in the middle. You can stop and rest.
Take a little,
and everything.
Okay,
yeah.
That's good.
Health first.
I heard about that though. I did hear about that race, and I heard something about a tug of war.
The tug of war. That's the first Sunday or first Saturday in November.
Okay.
And that's basically they get an Annapolis team over down at City Dock at the park.
Okay.
And then down in front of the Chart House and between Chart House and Bread and Butter Kitchen.
Okay.
And there's a giant rope, and there's hundreds of people that pull on each other, and Eastport tends to dominate on that one. Annapolis is not quite as brutally strong to do the tug of war, but it's a lot of fun, and they do a lot of things that raise money for local organizations. And it's all started. But do you know how it started?
No.
Well, Eastport's got this whole we're independent, the MRE, Maritime Republic of Eastport, and they closed the bridge for 6 months, I think it was, to redo it. The State Highway Administration and Eastport businesses were like, "How the hell are we going to survive? This is our artery," and they seceded from the city, and all of this. It was all tongue in cheek and everything else. So it was, and it worked out really well. People were like, "Okay, these guys are just a little bit nuts. We need to go out and support them," and it worked. I mean, now 20 years later, they're still doing it, which is kind of fun.
That is fun.
But Marilyn Hall. I mean, like I said, you came here late in March. Mm-hmm. How's it going as the new executive director? Newish. It's great.
I will say the staff is awesome.
Do they think you're awesome?
I think they think I'm awesome.
Okay.
I think they do.
Okay, we'll go talk to them a little bit.
You can go talk to them on the way out. Yeah, get the real scoop, right, when I'm not there. But no, they really are. Marilyn Hall, from what I understand, before COVID, was a staff of 20. And when I got here, it was 12, 3 of which were part-time. So, and we were reopening. So we were trying to go back to doing all the things we did before, but with half the amount of people. So, I was talking to the staff and they're all doing 2, 3, 4 jobs. So I am thrilled that in these last 2 weeks, we have welcomed 3 new staff members. And
great.
We have 1 more coming in next week. So we are getting back up to full staff capacity.
Well, there's no, it's not an easy task running this facility. And I think, we've got resident companies that are here. And that's what most people, I sort of think about Maryland. Oh yeah, let's go look at the opera. Let's go check out the ballet. And, but they sort of are independent, but you do need to sort of manage them as well. So, I mean, it takes an awful lot. I mean, you've got the facilities. So Dennis, who is just absolutely wonderful with making sure that, everything is where it needs to be. And you've got to answer the needs to the community as far as their thirst and hunger for arts. And you can't be pigeonholed into, yes, we're just doing painting, or yes, we're just doing pottery. I mean, because the tagline used to be art for all. Is it still?
Art for all. It still is. We are committed to art for all.
And that's any number of different ways that you can look at that. That's art for all. That can be art for you, art for me, art for the kid out on the street, art for the visitor that's coming in here. But it could also mean, you look into pottery. You can look into visual arts. You can do, the tactile arts outside. You've got the tree sculpture. I'm drawing a blank on the artist who did the sculpture in the tree. And you've got, it's everywhere on this property. And I remember way back when somebody had looked at the back of the building, at the back of the auditorium, and said, we've got these windows boarded up that are looking out onto Bates, which is the arts magnet for the school. Mm-hmm. It's like, what a perfect place to put little window murals. And so just walking around the building, it is art for all, and it is art everywhere, which is really kind of cool. Okay, in the 4 months that you've been here, what surprised you the most? I mean, everything's not available on the website. They hide the bodies someplace else. They don't put them on the website.
What surprised me the most? Let's see. Well, it was a pleasant surprise pretty early on to be in here and to suddenly hear, like an orchestra roaring or a sound check to a band, a Ram's Head band, or, to little kids' voices running down the hall preparing for their dance recital. I mean, it's different than a regular office. So that was really fun. And then I will say, the one thing that surprised me that I didn't know from the web, maybe I should have looked deeper into the website, but I didn't know we actually have the license of a radio station, Crab Radio. Mm-hmm. I didn't know about that. And Crab, we were partnering with the school district to deliver the content on Crab Radio, but they've exited from that part of the relationship. So Crab will be reemerging, and we're going to take it in-house. And our outreach coordinator, Ken Starks, is actually working with some youth on some podcasts and some other really exciting programming for Crab Radio. So, awesome. I just didn't even, it's like, oh, of course there's a radio station. Of course we have a gift shop. We have a art things store. We have a cafe.
Right. When are they opening? When's Commissar opening?
They're targeting August.
Okay.
To open Art Things.
And for those that aren't aware, Art Things was just a store that had been in West Annapolis forever and ever and ever and ever. It was ultimately sold, and Kobe came around. They turned around and they had a space here in Maryland Hall that they were able to operate. And it's really fine art supplies. If you ever need, and I say fine, I don't mean that in a hotsy-totsy way, but I mean, it's, a true art supply store. It's not Michael's where you can go get a box of, you probably get a box of crowns, but I mean, it's not, it's not that type of a thing. I mean, if you're looking for canvases, if you're looking for specific types of paints or pastels or anything like that. And, ultimately, with COVID and everything else, it wasn't working. But now, as you said, as the building is reopening, they were able to sell it. And Commissar Brown, who is actually one of my classmates at Leadership in Arundel, he's a great muralist around. He's going to be painting with Cindy Fletcher Holden, the mural on the side of the Arundel Center. Had purchased it with a partner,
Todd Black. Yes.
Yeah. And I am so excited to see that opening again.
Oh yeah. Oh, we are so excited, and all of the teachers in the building.
Sure.
The art teachers, visual art teachers specifically, they're really excited to see that opening, and to have that right there on the ground floor.
Down there handing a new tube of goop to work on the.
Got to go get my supplies, So I think it's pretty terrific.
What's your biggest challenge? Have you identified your biggest challenges coming here yet?
Well, I like to look at things as opportunities, but I think a big challenge that is facing all of us right now is what's going on in the world. I think we're a divided time and place.
Really?
In the world?
Where do you see that?
Oh, here and there, and what's going on, frankly, with the financial market. I think that's giving a lot of people pause to be concerned about, what's, some of the uncertainty of it all. And yet the importance of the arts at a time of uncertainty, at a time of, of division, to be able to unite people. And it's so, so the arts are so important, but I think there's a tension, that exists.
Well, I think arts, you say it's an opportunity, and I certainly think it is, but arts really has a way of equalizing that to a degree.
Yes.
You sit there and, I can read a piece of poetry or a novel. Okay, let's call a novel is art.
It's just, writing, creative writing.
And it can totally change I could be, stressed to the max right now because, I made the stupid mistake of opening my 401k and looked at the statement.
Right. Yes.
So it's like, and as I look on the table here, I could look at the Art and Public Places Commission book and say, oh, look at all these great murals. Maybe I'm going to go, I'm just getting out. I want to take a day and walk around town and see all these murals. Maybe I want to go see a show. I want to come see it. Maybe it's a Ram's Head show that's bringing here to their larger audience. Maybe it's the ballet. Maybe it's the opera. And, we've just got such a wealth of opportunity here. And it's low-cost opportunity, even no-cost opportunity.
Yeah, we have the no-cost opportunities as well. Absolutely.
It costs nothing to come in here and browse the galleries and see the talent that's here. Most of the front stairs. Yeah. I always use steps. I always screw that up. And that was something that was born of COVID. Yes. It was like, okay, well, we can't have hundreds of people in the building, so we'll put them out on the front yard. And we'll build a little stage. I saw several movies there when they did it with the, with the Kunitz Center, and the film festival brought some movies in a couple of years ago. And God, we're referring to COVID as a couple of years ago. It's kind of crazy. I know. But it's continued. I mean, it was so, and there'll be a food truck out there. There'll be a little bit of a stage. I mean, you've got some, the Hood to Good guys that are going to be there. You've got the Navy band that jumps in there. I don't know whether there's any movies scheduled this summer or not. But it's like Friday. I think
there's some indoor movies scheduled.
Yeah, there's some Friday evenings that are out there, and it's provided that the weather is not pouring rain. Bring a blanket, bring a lawn chair, kick down and check it out, because it brings it to you. The resident companies, obviously, they go out into the community. I know the Pops in the Park, I think, is moving from Quiet Waters, which it always was. I think they're going to Downs this year. So their free Labor Day concert. And there's just so much art around the town when you look at it. I mean, public art, obviously, but just in general. And Maryland Hall is the nucleus of it. It's the center. I mean, you're the hub of the wheel that sends it out around. And I don't envy you, but I do envy you. And certainly we appreciate you. You are pretty much running the show now here. I mean, they gave you the keys to the front door, right?
They did, and the back door.
Ooh,
and the side doors.
Whoa,
yeah.
Whoa.
And I have the master to all the rooms too.
Ooh. Okay. So they must believe in you.
They do.
Okay. Well, you've got 19 bosses, which in my humble opinion is way too many. And after we stop recording, I'll tell you the ones that need to go, but that's, see, I can say that. You can't say that. Okay? But it's, gosh, 19 people on a board is crazy. I think like committees of more than 2 are nuts, but that's just me. But what's your vision moving forward for Maryland Hall? I mean, and I'm sure it is starting to maybe gel a little bit now, and it's certainly going to, the visions always will change. I can ask that question a year and a half or 2 years from now. It's going to be totally different because, things change. Yeah.
The context of the world and what's going on with the space. Well, actually, this is perfect timing because I think it was at our last board meeting a week or so ago. I shared a vision with the board and I shared a vision with the staff. And I wanted to find a way to synthesize it and say it simply so that they could go out and share the vision of Maryland Hall. So it's really 3 phrases. Reimagine, rebuild, reach beyond.
Okay. All right. That's fairly
succinct, right?
Fairly succinct and self-explanatory.
So, and reimagine, just to give you some examples of some things in each of the categories. So in reimagining, we have, Maryland Hall Presents, that series, and we're going to continue that. This year, we're reimagining a component of that. We're going to have Maryland Hall Presents Healing Conversations. We have a theme this year of healing. We want to start adding some forums, some discussions, maybe with some experts in the field, some scholars, some authors. So we're going to do 3 healing conversations in the Bowen. One in November is going to be around art therapy. One in March, we'll focus on creative writing as a healing tool, which you just mentioned that. And then the one in May, we're targeting the LGBTQ community and trying to create a forum that would be of interest to that community.
That's great. We mentioned about the LGBTQ community, and I've talked with Jeremy Browning several times with Annapolis Pride, and Annapolis is a very it's a great community for the LGBTQ crowd. But one thing that he always had said that that crowd has never felt unwelcome, but the LGBTQ doesn't have a solid place, the gay bar. the type of a thing there. And that's all starting to change out of a project coming out of Arundel Community College that may be changing soon.
Great.
But that's, but as we look at the way the Pride Parade and Festival came and how that, it shot out of a cannon in 2019. It was just, you weren't here, but it was just absolutely amazing. I'm sitting here looking, I went into it going like, okay, this can go one of two ways. This can go amazingly or amazingly bad, because Ward 1 is all, so puckered up. And I mean, how outrageous is the parade going to be? It was just the most wonderful thing. It was all about love, and it was about acceptance and everything else. And it was great. And 2022 was equally as good. So I'd love to see that we're continuing to increase the acceptance of all, which again brings it back to the art for all.
Yes. Yeah. So and we're reimagining all of that. And I'm actually meeting with Jeremy this afternoon to have deeper conversations about, we obviously are connected to the Pride Parade because of the route and where it lands, but how else can Marilyn Hall be welcoming to the community, not just in June,
right?
But all year round.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, you also said moving forward and
reach beyond. Yes.
And you had mentioned earlier about Act 1, Act 2 and everything else. And there was at some point an Act 3 scheduled. Mm-hmm. Is that still in the works? And that now, as far as the acts go, that was Act 1, I believe, was like the rehab of the interior of the auditorium with the seats and I'm going to screw up the word, but the potageres or whatever those parterres that sit up on the side.
Yes. Yeah.
The good seats. And Act 2 was the expansion of the wing in the back, which had the new green rooms and the meeting rooms and the dressing rooms and the storage.
And the elevator. And the ability to load a piano, so you don't have to bring it up the front stairs.
Right.
It was a good addition.
And I think I've got my acts correct as far as what they were. And then there was an Act 3, which I know was going to get like the balcony seats. It was part of that, and there were some other things. But is that still in the works?
Yeah, Act 3 was actually an extension on the other side of the building. You know how there's the Act 2 it's going to be mirror that on the other side. It would create a lobby for the Bowen. It would create some additional dressing rooms. It would create a walkway from over there into the main building, right in the gallery. There would be an elevator. So there would be another nice entrance, like handicap entrance, be able to come up and come over and come into the space, and a number of other things. And I've seen the plans, and we've had conversations about them, so I could understand them. I think at this point, we're thinking about our bond bill that we have until 2026, thanks to Mike Bush. And what was originally planned for that was an HVAC renovation, and sort of what we want to do with that, how that could fit in. Is there interest in more? Like, is there, because obviously we'd have to raise funds, so when is the right time, and what is the right sequencing of, rebuilding or reimagining or reaching beyond, so I don't have a definitive answer for you. I'm sort of kicking it down the field, but I will say, I'm learning all about it. I'm learning all about the building. I think we're talking about reactivating a facilities team, with board members, to be able to have further conversations and really decide what is feasible, doable, appropriate, and part of our vision.
Right. And you've also got to look at timing too. And you mentioned, with the economy and everything else, I mean, I'm sure getting, leadership gifts and stuff like this at this point is probably a little bit more challenging than it was 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's,
but I think at the same time, I think there's great opportunity. I think one of the, back to your question about challenges earlier, was that we can't program the main theater and Bowen at the same time often because of the sound.
Right.
So some of the things that would happen with some renovations, with even the HVAC renovation, would improve the leakage of sound between the spaces. So we might then be able to have two spaces to be able to use at the same time, which would be huge. Open up a lot of doors.
Where are you going to park all these people?
We still have, we have lot D, we have lot A, we have lot B. And,
as long as the school's not in session, you can.
Yes, I know. Well, hey, and I have heard the Naval Academy will work with you and send shuttles down. We've had that for I know that was Juneteenth that they were using it there.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. Well, there's so much stuff that goes on here. I mean, I was just my notes here, I was putting down this. I mean, you've got classes, okay, so you can come and learn how to do art. You've got exhibits that are constantly evolving, both inside and outside. You've got shows. You'd mentioned Maryland Hall, the Maryland Hall series. You've got the Ram's Head comes in here. Ignite will be coming in here September 11th for their 5th one. You've got the resident companies. You've got retail. You've got a cafe, which is operated by the kids out of South River, which is great. Outdoor, like I say, outdoor art and anything else. I mean, is there anything else that I'm missing or that people don't know about Maryland Hall?
Well, we partner, I mean, you mentioned Bates, but they're our key partner school, Bates Middle School. They actually do some of their end of year performances on our main stage. And I have heard, I've gotten a note from a parent about how excited their child was to be in a professional space and to have that opportunity. I hear from the teachers how it literally elevates their work, the quality of their work, to be in a professional setting. We're also trying to deepen our partnership with Bates. We're creating student ticket packages this year. So it's going to be like a subscription for students that are in the performing visual arts track.
Great.
Yeah, they'll be able to access affordably priced tickets, either like for 2 events or maybe up to 4 events. The resident companies are participating. Ram's Head is participating. So we're going to offer those tickets at $20 each. They'll be able to access one student ticket, 1 adult ticket, both at $20 each.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, so we're excited to launch that and open that up, with wanting to provide different opportunities for families and parents to come and see things here.
Well, that is a critical thing. I mean, get in the front doors.
Yeah.
There's so much that's going on. The film festival had the building a buzz with the films in the main auditorium as well as downstairs and food trucks out front and everything else. And you look at just all of the stuff. I mean, Ram's Head brings their shows in here. Maryland Hall has their own shows that they present. The resident companies that are here. And when all of that's not going on, there's other things that are coming in to the different auditoriums. I know the film festival does through their Annapolis Film Society, brings in
monthly
films periodically. Pretty much like every month and a half or something like that. And you see some wonderful, wonderful films. We saw King Richard before it even hit the theaters last year, which was kind of neat. It was up for an Oscar.
Yes.
And before Will Smith punched Chris Rock, it was, we'll see. Never a dull moment. Good to see there's drama someplace in Hollywood as well as
right, off screen and on screen and
everywhere else. And you had mentioned about the ticket packages that for the kids, and that sort of leads into the support. I mean, Maryland Hall doesn't exist without support. I mean, Jackie does not live on a bond bill from Mike Bush alone.
No,
it's wonderful to have it, but it's
that's just for the building, just to help the build, not to run the inside things that are happening in the building.
Right, but how do we support Maryland Hall? What does Joe Blow on the street have to do to support Maryland Hall?
Well, Joe has a lot of options. Joe can become a member of Maryland Hall. Joe can take classes, register for classes. That would help support us. You could make a donation. You could even become a volunteer. If you don't have the opportunity to give money, we have a strong volunteer corps and a fantastic staff person who manages the volunteers. Pretty much all of the people that take tickets or work the bar at our events are volunteers. We actually have, sometimes volunteers in here doing things like painting if we need to paint something in the building or helping us to move things. So they can be utilized.
Cool.
Yeah, in a lot of different ways. We have a major event coming up on September 9th, which you can buy a ticket to and attend, Arts Alive. It's our annual fundraiser. We will also have a silent auction that you can bid on items, even if you don't come to Arts Alive.
You should come to Arts Alive.
But you should come to Arts Alive. We have Ram's Head is our presenting sponsor this year.
Right.
Thank you, Ram's Head. And they are providing for us the Yacht Lobsters. So we will have some fun music and dance happening. All the resident companies will be also participating and sharing and presenting at the event on the 9th.
I remember the first Arts Alive.
You do?
When Linnell Bowen's idea came up when she was the former executive director here, and it was to buy like 4 windows in the front of the building. That was the goal, to raise enough money to buy the 4 windows in the front of the building, and it has grown into be one of the events of it is the arts event of the year, but it is going to be one of the biggest events or the must attend events in Annapolis each year. It's always a lot of fun, and it's moved. I mean, it used to be, now you're outside, and it was inside at one point, and the outside in the tent, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah, we're going to be in parking lot B. We're taking over parking lot B.
Okay, what's parking lot B?
Parking lot B is when you come in Caraway, into Marilyn Hall up Caraway, the first parking lot on your right. It's a very large parking lot. We're going to put a tent over it.
Okay, just past the townhomes.
Just past the townhomes, yes. And we have state-of-the-art, modernized Bobby's Potties will be available outside. They're air conditioned and everything. There will be a stage underneath the tent.
Right.
And this year's Arts Alive is Arts Alive Global. Come sail the world. So you'll have the opportunity to sample world food and experience the flavors from across the world. Always
a lot of fun.
It'll be fun.
And it's very well worth the money to attend, and certainly bid, because the auctions are going to have some great stuff there as well.
Terrific stuff, yes.
And I know I mentioned the film festival a couple of times, bringing in their things. You've got a facility here that's not, nothing's happening here right now. I say nothing today, but there's no performances happening right now as we're speaking.
Not as we're speaking, but we are expecting a few today, because it's Friday, and the summer camps culminate and have performances on Friday. So if you want to stick around, you might be able to find some lovely performances later today.
Very nice. But is the facility available for other people to use, to rent? If there's a company that is, I say the Naval Academy's got all their own facilities, stuff like that. But if there's a company that has maybe a shareholders meeting, or maybe there's a crab sailing needs to pitch a whole bunch of big investors for whatever it is is this available?
Absolutely. We have some really beautiful spaces that we can provide audiovisual support for, depending on what your event is and what you need. We have a community space that could be great for meetings or receptions. Then of course we have a 725-seat main theater, and then the Bowen, which when seated with rows can seat 180. But you could also put round tables with chairs. Right. We have the screen, all set up in that room. And in addition, we have other rooms throughout the building that are available for even smaller, more intimate events. So come on over and take a walk around. We'll show you what we got, and we're definitely open, and we would love to see you here.
Well, the website is marylandhall.org, and that's where you can get all the information. That's a great place to start. And I'll tell you, the other thing that you can do really to support Marilyn Hall, if you are unable to volunteer or donate or come to a show or can't find the time or something like that, just pass the word. Let your neighbors know that we've got this gem sitting right here. Let's not keep Marilyn Hall a secret. There's some restaurants that we want to keep secret and keep all the crowds out. But Marilyn Hall, we want the crowds to know about this. It's got such history. It's got such a future to it, and it's just a very unique place, and it's a real true gem for Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. It really is. As we start to wrap up, let's say, you said you've discovered some different things. You didn't realize you had a radio station here and stuff like that. Let's say you get down into the basement and you find Al Capone's vault just stuffed with money. Okay, and you can't even get to the bottom of the pile of Al Capone's money there. What's Jackie Coleman do with that? Oh boy.
Okay. Well, I think Act 3 comes to mind. Right off the bat, some of the physical stuff in the building, trying to get the Bowen and the main hall to be able to be utilized at the same time. I think opening up the doors to perhaps some more free performances, both on the stage and maybe in the front stairs series. And then, to support some of I actually haven't talked much, but we have some really awesome outreach stuff happening. I know Ken Starksing, I'm going to mention him, and Laura Brino, working really hard. And I think it's going to be launching in July. I wish I knew which day of the week, but down in the cafe, one particular evening a week, I think at 5:30, they're planning to just have like an open mic, like a poetry night or a sharing. They're starting with having some of the Bates kids come over, but we're just trying to activate the space. And if I found that vault with the endless cash in it, I'd probably have some food and beverage that I'd offer up free to get some people to come in and maybe share, on an open mic situation or, a poetry slam or something like that. I think doing some more events like that to really invite people in, make them feel safe. And then I think in our outreach programs, what they could really use help with is transportation. So I might take some of that money in the vault and maybe, I don't know,
a couple shuttle buses.
Shuttle buses, maybe paint a bus and have it be the Marilyn Hall bus or something. I think that would be a joy to have.
That's great ideas. Okay, so we need to get digging in the basement. Okay, because we don't know that it's not there.
That's true. But we've got to ask the historical trust before we dig anywhere.
Oh gosh, they're a pain in the neck. They get their fingers into everything. They ruin everything.
Well, they're there to try to keep things not from being ruined, the historical piece. So,
right, true.
Yeah.
Well, Marilyn Hall is actually still owned by the school district.
It is.
And I know you got a special dispensation from some higher being to be able to start boozing here, which is probably the greatest thing in the world. To be able for an intermission to go out and get a glass of wine or get a beer or, just enjoy it. Or even, you go look at a gallery opening and...
It's nice to have wine and cheese at a gallery opening. Yeah, absolutely.
Is it really a gallery opening if you don't?
I don't know.
That's a good point.
That's a good question. We'll have to, next time, we'll bring in some people and argue that.
We'll worry about that. Jackie Coleman, thank you so much for your time this morning, and congratulations on, landing the gig. We are so happy to have you here. We're so excited about what the future holds for Marilyn Hall. As it continues to be the gem that we know and love, and that everybody else should know and love. And for those that are listening, spread the word. Let them know. Go marilynhall.org. It's deep. Go find out everything that they offer. If you can get to Arts Alive in September, do it. It'll be a great night under the stars. And I've done enough business with Ram's Head over the years that they don't do anything half-assed. So it's going to be off the charts fun night. And seriously, welcome to Annapolis, and
thank you.
Whatever we can do to help you guys out, never hesitate to ask, because we are a friendly town. I was talking to some of the people from Sailor Oyster Bar that had their fire, and we were going over on the outreach that the community pulls together for, during COVID, what they did for businesses and restaurants, and when buildings burned down, and we are a very giving community in Anne Arundel County and Annapolis. And, we've got to include Marilyn Hall too. So get out, support, see a show, go to one of the resident companies, see one of their shows, donate, become a member. And
my door is always open. If you want to just grab coffee and tell me, what you'd like to see at Marilyn Hall that isn't here, door's open.
That's true. I just walked right in here, sat down at the table and said, hey, let's talk. Jackie Coleman, thank you so much, and welcome again to Annapolis. I hope you and your husband continue to live in this wonderful vacation place that we are fortunate enough to call home, and look forward to some great things out of Marilyn Hall.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to this week's Local Business Spotlight. Please make sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinion. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you all the day's local news direct to your phone, tablet, or computer in about 10 minutes. It comes to you at 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.